What is the worst thing a parent has ever done to ruin your special day? My mother Linda has always believed that her life is a sitcom and everyone else is just a supporting character. She is a woman who thrives on attention and has zero concept of a filter. Growing up, I was the primary source of her material. She would tell total strangers about my bedwetting or my first failed crush just to get a chuckle at a grocery store checkout line. She calls it being a storyteller, but I call it being a social predator. The incident that broke me happened at my wedding rehearsal dinner. I was marrying my husband Mark, who comes from a very conservative and private family. My mother stood up to give a toast and decided to tell the entire room about the time I got caught shoplifting a lipstick when I was 14. She didn't just tell the story, she acted out my crying face and mocked the way I begged her not to tell my father. She made a joke about how I have always been a thief of hearts and other things. Mark's parents looked horrified. I spent the rest of the night in the bathroom crying while my mother told people I was just being a drama queen. 6 months later, my mother was retiring from her job as a head nurse at a local clinic. She had worked there for 30 years and they were throwing her a massive roast at a banquet hall. She was ecstatic. She told me for weeks that I needed to prepare a speech that was funny and edgy. She said, "Do not hold back, honey. I want people to see where you get your wit from." I decided to give her exactly what she asked for. The room was packed with her colleagues, the doctors she worked for, and all our extended family. The first few speakers gave lighthearted roasts about her coffee addiction and her loud laugh. Then it was my turn. I walked up to the podium and smiled. I told the room that my mother always taught me that the best comedy comes from the absolute truth. I started with her professional life. I told them about how she used to bring home boxes of medical supplies and sell them on eBay for extra vacation money. I saw her boss, a very serious surgeon, lean forward with a frown. I didn't stop there. I talked about her secret gambling habit and how she nearly lost our house when I was 10 because she spent the mortgage money at a casino. I told the room about the time she called in sick for a week to go to a beach resort with a man who was not my father and made me lie to the neighbors about her having the flu. The laughter in the room died a very quick death. My mother was frozen in her chair, her face a shade of bright purple. I saved the best for last. I told the room about her philosophy on parenting. I mentioned how she used to record my private phone calls with my high school boyfriend and play them back for her bridge club. I told them how she had recently tried to convince me to lie on my taxes so she could claim me as a dependent even though I was married and living in another state. I looked at her and said, "You always told me to be memorable, Mom. I hope this is a night you never forget." I sat down in total silence. Not a single person clapped. My mother's boss stood up and walked out of the room, followed by several of the senior nurses. The party essentially evaporated in 10 minutes. People were avoiding eye contact as they scrambled for their coats. My mother came over to me shaking with rage. She told me I was a monster and that I had ruined her career legacy. She said she could face an internal audit because of the medical supply comment. I just shrugged and reminded her that she always said comedy comes from the truth and that I was just being a storyteller like her. She has been trying to play the victim on Facebook for the last 2 months, claiming her daughter has a twisted imagination and is trying to destroy her. But her old coworkers aren't liking her posts anymore. 2 of them actually messaged me to thank me for finally saying what everyone suspected but was too afraid to voice. I haven't spoken to her since that night. She wanted a roast and I gave her a bonfire. I am finally done being the punchline of her life. My husband and I are moving to the coast next month, and for the first time, I am not worried about who is telling my secrets. I already told the only ones that matter.